because I sure need them. I first of all, thank you for coming, and it may be a very small crowd. I did ask a couple of people. Brian Balmages did call today and say he would like to come in and just be in on the meeting, just because, you know, as a composer and as a musician, he's just really trying to figure everything out for himself as well. And he's like, and I love ASBDA, and I'd love to come and hear what everyone has to say. And so he may be on, he may not. He said he would text me if he has a chance. But I don't know about you guys. I'm just going to start by saying we still don't have, in where I live in Dublin, Ohio, which if you guys know Ohio at all, it's northwest of Columbus. As of today, we still don't know whether or not we are going to be hybrid or remote. The only thing we do know is that parents have the option by Wednesday at midnight to allow their students to be in what they call the virtual academy. And if they're in virtual academy, they can't have band, choir, or orchestra. All they can do is music appreciation class. However, they have to, if they're gonna do it, they have to be in all semester. But if they feel confident enough, they can come back to school the second semester. And so it could be that, you know, if we start hybrid and I lose some kids first semester, I could get them back second semester, which for 7th and 8th grade, I'm not as worried about as my beginners. You know, you have your hybrid beginning and it's going to be slow, and that's okay. But, you know, what happens when these kids come back the second semester and haven't had any instruction? Mm-hmm. So it's going to be pretty crazy. But anyway, what I wanted to let you guys do right now is just let's discuss what's going on for us, and what are we seeing, and what do we need help with, and let's just talk. Let's support each other, because I was telling Blair, and it's good to see you, Blair, up there in the corner. I was telling Blair last week that I was feeling pretty lost and pretty depressed because I had no idea, you know, and I've read as much as I can. I've been to as many of these kind of meetings as I can. Minnesota did a great, like, beginning middle school band, like, online Facebook Live, like, whole COVID thing, and it was fantastic. But it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard when you don't know what you're going to do to, like, try to plan. And we won't know until Wednesday, which again was supposed to be last Wednesday. But again, so that's why I thought, let's sit down and talk to each other. Okay. Go ahead.
If you're high school, put your little hand school people you got. You know, we got that little online hand thing.
Yeah.
If you don't want to turn your camera on, you can just wave your little online hand. So I see 1, 2, 3 high school people, 4. Okay. 5.
I don't know where that thing is.
It's down. It's down on
under the comments, is it, or under more? Oh, look under. Open up the participants, and at the bottom of the participants, there's a little thing that says more. Under that,
and there's also reactions button at the bottom with a little happy face with a plus.
Yeah.
So you can also, like, give us a thumbs up or whatever if you want to do it that way as well. So.
Yeah. So who else? Middle school.
Me.
Got your hand up. Got to put them down.
Me.
And me.
Yeah.
Tracy's got both. Who is that in there, guys? Eric. I can't see Eric. Alice. Hi, Alice.
Hi, Alice. Good to see you.
Yeah, Diane, you're middle school too. Yeah. Okay, so it looks like we got a pretty good split, half and half. Okay. Who is back with students now? Anybody here? Nobody here. I know it's happening in some places. Kathy is back with students.
Well, we've had 2 weeks of band camp now.
Okay,
so,
but not in class
but
setting.
not in school. Okay. No.
Is anybody back in school? Christina, is that a yes from you? Sock. Yeah, we started in service today, but not children. Okay, now I won't interrupt anymore.
Hey, there were several districts in Georgia who started today. Live kids in the classroom. Some disturbing pictures if you've seen some Facebook friends from Georgia.
Yeah.
I have.
Hey Blair,
Yes.
The band director at Etowah is a friend of mine, so I texted him today. I'm like, dude, what the hell are y'all doing? And he said it's a senior tradition.
Well,
What did you see? I didn't see it. What was
the entire senior class in front of the school, no mask.
Shoulder to shoulder.
Oh
shoulder
boy.
to shoulder.
Yeah, it
You
was
know,
pretty
girls
crazy.
get on each other and guys, no mask. And the sister school, I think it's the foyer just right up the street, did the same thing. All the seniors in the entire in the school.
And that worries me, you know? Oh, can you even imagine?
I like what somebody who was at, it just went away down there in the chat. It would be great if each one of you just at some point, we're talking, jot down middle school, high school, both, and whether you're back or not back or whatever, where you are.
Mhm.
We don't have to say it out loud. We can just look at that.
Right. So in class in Colorado is August 24th. Wow.
Sorry, I got a little sunburnt today. For a lot of us it is, however, the state is not unified on the return date.
Oh, exactly. Well, and you know, in Ohio, the governor's like, well, you know, it should be up to the superintendents and what is good for their, and I'm like, could we just have something that's uniform? Because now there are kids in neighboring districts who are supposed to start remote out picketing. You know, we need band, we need sports, we need in class, we need, it's just crazy. So, yeah.
We have an interesting thing. You know, we have choice A and B. So A can be like the school district decides. We're planning to start in person, but it might be hybrid or it might be virtual depending on what's going on. And right now I'm just worried we're not even going to get it started. But then if you choose all virtual, the district is allowing kids who have the all virtual, which is a CAN program, to come into school for band.
That's great. Ours
I
will
know.
not. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, go figure. I just thought, wow, really? They're going to do this? Let kids a la carte that thing and come in just for band. But we have a bunch of kids in the high school and I think some in the middle school as well who are coming in just for band.
I had a kid email me today and he's like, you know, we're trying to make this decision. And, you know, did I hear right that if I'm in virtual academy, I don't get banned? And I said, unfortunately, yes.
Yeah.
But, and I think we're going to start remote. But the thing about it is the virtual academy kids will have their virtual academy teachers, and the kids who want to start in school but have to start remote will get the normal classes. Like they will have
Same with us.
Yeah.
That's kind of like ours.
Yeah. So, but I would just like to know what's going on.
Suzanne,
Yes.
I read yours in Keith's. So they haven't even made plans yet. When, what, where?
Mm-mm.
Oh wow, that's tough.
Yeah. Hi, Chris Hedges. Chris, go ahead, Christina.
Thanks.
Uh-huh.
Well, and for some of us too, we have the option of online and in person. But for some of our schools here, it's the same teacher to do both. So if I'm doing live instruction, I'm doing that for all my periods of the day. And then either that's to be recorded through a device they provide or one I provide, and then I post it to be the lesson for the students that are online.
Wow.
So online is not synchronous, it's asynchronous, or it can be?
I think can be is the approach they're desiring, excuse me, for like math and English and what have you, that they have this thing called a swivel that actually is a camera that follows the teacher around the classroom. So it's recording as the teacher is teaching, but it's not a lifetime interaction. It's just a lifetime recording.
Wow.
So they could watch the lesson later, but the lesson was recorded while it was being taught.
And how much is that technology?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
The swivel thing, my brother has what he calls a gimbal for his iPhone, and it wasn't cheap, but it can be mounted on a tripod or you can hold it and it will follow activity. And it's probably a couple $100 or something. I know he ordered it from Amazon.
Wow. Yeah, they haven't even given us the option of anything like that. So did someone else have their hand up? Kathy? Pinsky?
Yeah.
I did not.
Okay.
Christina.
Chris, would you like to say something?
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Chris.
I'm coming to you from Northern Kentucky. I don't think there's anybody else on here from Kentucky. If there is, my apologies. So in Boone County, we're doing the AABB Day. So Monday and Tuesday are students, Thursday and Friday are students, Wednesday is virtual. They were going to do the Edgenuity, which is what Christina was talking about. Or no, it wasn't Christina, it was you. Anyway, it was the virtual. And the teachers weren't going to have to do anything with the virtual. And then they ran into, all of a sudden it changed. Like within a week of me telling all the band and orchestra and percussion kids that if you sign up for virtual, you will not be in a performing arts class. Within a week, that all changed. And so so that's what they've announced. And my principal today told me the band would meet in the auditorium, sitting in the seats for the audience. And then the orchestra and the percussion would still meet in the band room. And then we were starting band camp this week. Even though we're not doing anything, we signed up for the Together as One stuff. And we were supposed to start tonight with color guard and percussion. And we didn't get to do that because at 2:00 today, the chance of thunderstorms was 70%, and we're not allowed to be inside. Now, volleyball can be inside.
Of course, yes.
The football team, the soccer team, the cheerleaders, the band, we all have to be outside, but the volleyball team can be inside using a net, using a ball. I don't know how they're doing that because they're not supposed to be sharing. But anyway, so I canceled my principal told me to go ahead and cancel. And he said, if you don't, and a kid gets struck by lightning, it's all on you. And I said, okay, then I'll just cancel. So in Kentucky, the two of the larger districts, Jefferson County and Fayette County, are going to start virtual. The big conflict right now is if they're starting virtual, then how is it that the high school athletic association is still saying we're going to be able to have fall sports? If those schools aren't safe enough to go to school, then how are they going to be able to participate in football? So anyway, that's just a little synopsis from Kentucky.
Right. My niece is visiting right now, Chris, and she goes to Anderson County High School. And so they were 2 weeks in to camp, and then all of a sudden they got sent home. Well, 2 days later, they're back. But then 2 days later, they did a show and recognized the seniors because they think they're not going to be able to do anything. So I'm just curious, how many of you have had that happen? Like you get one directive and then 2 days later it's gone, and then 2 days later it comes back. Is that just, because Ohio's doing it now too. So I'm just wondering what other states are seeing.
Well, we're about to get the big change of directive. Our governor has a press conference tomorrow where he may announce that we're going to push school back until after Labor Day statewide, but we're supposed to start school Wednesday. So that would give parents 0 time to make arrangements. We're all just waiting. We thought he was going to do it today, but the press conference was canceled.
Okay. Anybody else?
Can I speak about Tennessee?
Please. Yeah.
Okay, so Tennessee, we started last Thursday, professional development.
Nashville.
We're going 100% virtual until after Labor Day, but I think they're just going to be a wait and see. But this whole, let's see, how can I phrase this?
Carefully.
I'm really trying to be politically correct, but there is a double standard with athletics. and fine arts. Okay. So we're seeing that as well. Marching band has basically been called off, period. Nobody's doing marching band in our district. Not even competitive, not football, nothing. But yet there are athletic groups that are out there practicing and not doing social distancing and not doing those things. But it seems like that any of the bands who are trying to do some things are being made to do it virtually. As far as curriculum and instruction is concerned, everything is changing from hour to hour. This is a case of we don't know what we don't know. And things are changing all the time. If the stress level is off the charts in our district, and I'm in one of the largest districts in the state, in Metro Natural Schools, we have 85,000 students. So I know that I'm stressed. I know that in the performing arts, we have been relegated to 30 minutes per week, period, is all we get with our students. But I mean, there's a whole lot of ambiguity and double standard going on out there. And I'm not throwing anybody under the bus, but the TSSAA is protecting all of it's like they have a carte blanche to do whatever they want to do. That's what the sports. So the districts are taking the stand. Well, TSSAA is going to cover them, so we don't have to worry about it. But we've been told we cannot start beginners at all until maybe January.
What?
And we're pushing back because they're saying that directors cannot adequately instruct students on how to take care of the district instruments effectively. They don't trust us to do that. So right now, my staff and I are putting together a proposal to present to our upper level admins to say, no, we can do this, and here's how. So we're trying to work on that. Kids start back tomorrow. But what the district is doing is all week is going to be all virtual districts citywide. Every kid's doing the same thing. So I guess I'll have to touch base with you guys when I know more. But I mean, the biggest thing I can tell you is that sports are ruling. A lot of the arts programs are getting the shaft because they think we're the only ones that have to be safe. And athletics are just doing their own thing. And what the policies are being made up as they go. So don't be alarmed in your district if you learn one thing one day and then you get another email 2 hours later that says, no, we can't do that. For example, the biggest thing that I can tell you about that part is that in our meetings on Friday, we were told that all of our synchronous online lessons were to be recorded, so that students who have to log in by 11:59 p.m. to be counted present can go and visit those lessons whenever they can. Then our legal team over the weekend came in and said, oh, no, you cannot record synchronous lessons because that's violating student privacy. So today we are told that no, you cannot record them. So that's just, it's just stuff that's going to come down the pike. You just got to roll with it. And I think we as band teachers are well adapted to being able to roll with the punches and make it work right. Put a lot of lipstick on a pig, because this is a big old pig.
So you said 30 minutes a week? Like
30 minutes a week. Please don't misunderstand me. Not a day.
A week?
A week.
Even when you're virtual?
A week in virtual.
Kids you used to see 5 days a week, you will see once for 30 minutes.
5 days a week for 55 minutes.
Wow.
Now we have to get it done in 30 minutes, 1 day a week. And then we have all these office hours. So basically what it's going to turn into is we're just open band private lesson all week online. And we've decided to take a soloistic approach. So we are giving kids access to solos of differentiated ability levels with recordings of piano accompaniment and the recorded solo part to give them some kind of basis. And then we've created virtual lessons around create, respond, and connect to give them as well. And our district is doing Florida Virtual School for all the other subjects. However, Florida Virtual School does not have any performing arts courses in it at all. So that's the update from Tennessee. So I'm sorry. I wish I could stay on and listen, but I've got to go. But Carol asked me to weigh in on Tennessee, and that's it.
No, thank you for coming, Susan. Thanks for,
Okay.
yeah,
All right.
we'll be in touch.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Bye, Al.
Yeah. Go ahead, Christine. Yes.
All right, thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. I sent, or I think Linda sent an email out to everybody because I wanted to put together a bunch of videos of the how to have correct embouchure, correct tone, correct posture, all that stuff for all the different instruments. And I did get responses back, but I have not received any of the videos yet. And I know I wanted them by like the beginning of August, which is when where we are now. But I figure with everything going on the way it is and how the fall is still up in the air for so many school districts, and like she just said, only having 30 minutes a week, I think it's probably even more prudent to have those videos of good modeling, of setting up your instrument and things like that, so the kids have a file they can go into and they can look at. So if anyone is still interested in doing that, I'm more than welcome to have as many different for each instrument. So if you want to do that, let me know. But also if you did say yes, you wanted to do that, if you could get those videos to me so that I can put them together and we can get that put up on the website.
Perfect.
Put your email address in the chat for everyone, please.
Okay.
Go ahead, Randy.
Hi, I just want to remind, I don't know if everybody knows the U.S. Army Band put out some killer, well-produced beginning, and maybe you all know that, of starting instruments, which a couple years back, and they're really clean. It can help.
Yeah, I did see some of those, and some of those I really liked. I know that some of them, like for beginners, some were a little over a beginner's head, especially one of the flute ones were a little bit over, but they were good for upper grades too. So yeah, I do like that, Randy. Thanks for sharing that.
Ruth, go ahead.
I was just sharing in the chat box the beginning band boot camp. A director had done that a few years ago, and it's a free website, and there are videos on putting the instruments together. There are videos on the basic embouchure and making a tone, reading music. It covers everything, and I've been using it for a few years, and it really, really helps the beginners.
Yeah, thanks. And you guys, I'll share the chat box with the whole organization, tomorrow, so that everyone can have all that information as well.
After.
Yeah, thank you so much. Kent, are you still on here? Can you tell us what's going on in Hawaii?
Hi there.
Hi, Kent.
Well, I teach at a private school, and my two daughters teach in the public schools. And I know one of my colleagues, Scott, is here. They just pushed back the start of school. I think it's about 2 weeks. They were supposed to start with students either tomorrow or Wednesday. But I realize relative to the rest of the country, our infection rates are relatively low, but they've spiked in the past few weeks. So everybody's kind of worried about that, since we're on an island. We should have better control about this. I got an email from one of my colleagues. He had a discussion with his principal, and there's that big push to have band classes outside. But because I suspect it's because so many other classes want to use outside space for distancing, that it sounds like the public school bands have been given an exception to remain indoors, but with the understanding that the air conditioning units are not going to be retrofitted to deal with any kind of filtration issues.
Right.
So I have no idea where that's going to go with Scott, I don't know if you have anything you want to add about that, but it just seems, as you were saying in one of the conversations before, that there does seem to be that double standard that kind of puts us. I am at a private school, And my band room is a portable, well, it used to be a portable classroom.
Oh.
But I just got moved to a regular classroom. It's a relatively small program in the IB family.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm probably going to go more chamber music and
Mm-hmm.
theory lessons. So that's kind of what things are looking like for me. I'm planning to ask all, because it's a small room, I'm planning to ask all my kids to wear face masks, and because I'm in the older risk category, I'm probably going to be wearing a face mask. And my daughter made a really nice face shield for me. That's been her hobby this summer, making face masks. I did put a link to some of the places that we found online for masks and such.
Mm-hmm.
The do-it-yourself, the sew your own. It's a little hard to get the mouthpiece into that slot. And I'm a little worried about that one, just because if you play a reed instrument, just trying to fiddle getting that mouthpiece into that opening, especially if you got really young kids doing that reed's gonna get trashed quite a bit.
Right.
Yeah. So
am I to understand that you guys are not required, your kids are not required to have face masks?
I'm not really sure about, I was under the impression, and once again, I don't know if Scott wants to chime in, because I'm not in the public schools, but it seems like they have an option of sorts they're recommending, but I don't know that it's been it might be mandated now. They might make a statement soon, just because our numbers, which have been, when the whole thing started, we were single digits, and people got worried when it went to low double digits, but now we're in triple digits.
Wow.
So for what we've been having, it's very worrisome.
Right.
So I'm not sure what the public schools are doing. My private school, we're kind of not self-contained community, but the kids who go to our school hang out with each other, and they've got their own little pods going. So we're monitoring as kids and visitors come on campus. But the administration seems to feel that the families who send their kids to our school seem to have it a little more under control. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, well, in our district, we are mandated, kids and teachers, K through 12. So Scott, do you want to share?
Yeah, for the public schools, we are mandated to wear face masks. Face shields, if you're going to do a face shield, you have to wear a face mask.
Right.
So I ordered face shield on Amazon, and I've got my face mask. We'll be doing bell covers. And I was going to do like barricades or things, that plexiglass thing out of shower curtain, but since that thing from Dr. Weaver came down, not to do that, we're not doing that.
Right.
We'll be going with the bell mask, and our periods are 45 minutes long this year. So that's going to help with the airflow, since I believe the study said 30 minutes max, and then air recycles.
Right.
I'm not sure if you have any other questions though regarding that.
How many of your schools are requiring masks? Just curious. No, Chad? Oh, yes, Chad. Okay. Christina, yes. Yeah. Great.
Guys, I have a quick question. Could someone tell me, I was going over the Colorado study and other things, and can someone tell me where that 30 minutes max came from? I know in the Colorado study, they said that within the 6 feet distance that there, the aerosols kind of go up a lot after 30 minutes. So be sure you're 6 feet apart. That's kind of what it said. But I'm wondering where this 30-minute maximum time came from.
Depends on your air handler. So there's a formula on there. It took place, I think it was a 3ACH was the actual so that means how long it takes for the room to recirculate all the air. So the survey, all the tests were done at a 3 ACH. I've tried to find out what our rooms are here, and maintenance won't share that information with me, but that's where that's at. So if your room is able to regenerate, I think it's the higher the number, the better, the more airflow you have, and the faster it clears out the room. There's a formula on that power slide, the slides out there that you'll be able to see on the PowerPoint on there.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing about it. Because if we go hybrid, we'll see our periods 1 through 4 in the morning, and then there'll be a break, and we'll see 1 through 4, the other half of them in the afternoon, which I teach all 1 through 4. So, you know, trying to get my room cleaned and turned over, it's just not going to happen. So
I just go straight through too. That's why I'm like, and my classes are 60 minutes long. And so I'm just wondering, where is this half hour really for real? And if so, like, you know, I know I bought a filter, like for a dentist office, kind of a filter, to try and increase the air exchange in my room, but I can't find out either what it actually is yet.
Right, and I've asked and gotten no comments whatsoever.
I know, no one knows.
That sounds like a question all of us have. Is how do you measure it? How's it done? What kind of equipment's needed?
Right.
Because I mean, I've asked at my place, I'm like, oh no, I don't want to do anything. And I think the truth is they don't know how to find out.
Right.
And my husband, who's an engineer, says somebody knows. Everybody's HVAC has a rating on it. So he's like, it's not a strange question, because I asked him if I was asking something bizarre, and he's like, heck no, I can tell you every room in the plant and what the air exchange is.
Right. And I said my principal was a band director. Thank God, you know, she read the entire Colorado study, went through all of it, watched the videos, and, you know, she's trying to find the answers too, but she doesn't know any more than we do. It's almost like everybody up here knows what's going to happen, and they're just not letting us know. It's just, I don't know. It's
we don't know how to ask. Exactly. If we're asking someone who's non-musical and somebody who works in the school maintenance department about this, we may not be putting it in the words. They go, oh, that's what you're talking about.
Right.
So I think that sounds like a need for everybody, is to learn more about how that measurement is made, and, you know,
right. Oh, thanks for all these resources you guys are putting here.
I have a need, kind of, that
Go ahead.
Y'all can share. We're having a conversation a couple of times with others recently. We've sort of come to the consensus that we're not too worried about how far we take the kids in skills, new skills, and whatever. We'll try, yes. But our bigger concern is just keeping them part of band family. And just the whole feeling like you're part of the community, and that there's purpose to this, and that it feels an emotional need, and that they'll be there when this is all over. And I'd be interested to hear if some of y'all have ideas for activities or things that you're going to do with students that enhance that whole sense of being part of the band. You know, I thought of something as silly as having a little window sticker, you know, on the window of their house. It says, you know, future Franklin band member, or something, whatever. I don't know. Anything to make them feel like they're part of something. Having pen pals. I don't know. Is anybody doing anything that they could share or have something in mind?
Depending on how big your group is, I've written like the end of the year little notes to all my kids, especially my beginners, to try to keep them in longer. So maybe as like a beginning of the year, just welcoming all the kids. It could be the same thing on every single card, but just a handwritten note, and our school will mail it to their houses.
Yeah.
I did that with my 7th graders. Mailed one to each one of them. And thank God. Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's what kept him going. And I did it before the end of the year because I just want him to see, you know, that we were still here and caring about him. I'm just worried. Go ahead. Anybody else have any ideas? Something you've done or something you might do? Go ahead, Sandy.
I was just talking with some of you might know Jerry Lucart, who's a college director. He's at the U of M, and he's just an amazing guy, and he knows our school band world, and he's making sure he focuses on that. He's almost thinking less. And I know it's college people, but he's talking about his 6th college band, which would be lesser abilities, but he's going to take Friday's rehearsal and just try to even develop social skills there and connection and camaraderie and esprit de corps. I don't know what his activities are. I'm sorry, but he would be happy to share them with us. But I think it's super important, even for someone in college bands. He just wants to develop that, especially freshmen. You can imagine coming into college as a freshman and you really want to develop that.
Absolutely. That's a great idea too. A lot of our choir teachers are really worried about the whole singing in class, and they're thinking about doing stuff like that during class time and then demonstrating for the kids and then saying, okay, now you go home and do this, So, and that's great. Ruth, go ahead.
The high school director is just down the road from my middle school, and he's going to be handpicking some of the high school students, and I'm going to set up Zoom meetings with the beginners, and then we will have the high school kids come into those breakout sessions and form some bonds with the kids on the same instruments and start helping them with learning to play their instruments.
Oh, that's great. That's a great idea.
It would be a win-win, both ends, not just
exactly right.
With some sense of purpose.
Correct. Christina, go ahead.
Well, something every day I think of something and then I wonder about the work. So one of my mantras is I'll make the work and then decide if I want to do it later. But if there were a list of, and I'm sure there is through ASBDA, but a list of schools and an email address and what level we teach kind of deal, much like the one young lady was talking about building the repository of embouchure stuff, maybe we could create little memos that we could just queue up and send to, like I could send one to any of you and say, hi to Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so in such and such, just a little message, and then have the camera point to some of my kids that are in the room and wave and be like, we're in this together, guys. Hope to see you soon. So that they could connect across the country, which is something they've probably never done ever.
That's true. That's a great idea too.
Hey,
Blair, go ahead.
I don't know if you saw, Suzanne, I wish Brian was here because he did a clinic on social emotional learning the other day with Music for All.
Yeah.
Which I think was live. I think you can go see that on their website. And I don't remember everything, but they were 3 or 4 composers there, and they were trying to tie some activities in with their music. And I know that may be an ongoing offering. I don't think that was just a one-time deal. So that was, I don't know, that was something I thought if Brian does pop in, maybe he can mention a little bit about that, or what composers are doing to try to get that social side of the kids back into it.
Okay, I've lost my screen, you guys. Are you still there? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, good. Oh, I just lost you for a second. I just texted Brian because he thought he was going to come tonight, but he said he'd text if he was able to, and I just texted him. But so if he does, that'd be great. Yeah, and that, Blair, can you put that in the chat? Or did you already?
I will. Let me see if I can find it, and then I'll put the link.
Perfect. Go ahead, Chad.
Yeah, one of the things I'm kind of thinking about doing is I teach high school band in Iowa, and I might kind of take each class. So the freshmen coming up, they're coming from 3 different middle schools, and they got to be really nervous, really scared. New school, it's a crazy world out there right now. So focus on them about some of those things that they are looking at doing. Sophomores, this is their 2nd year in high school band, and kind of say, okay, you're not a freshman anymore. You need to start stepping it up, have a little conversation with them. The juniors, they're probably really freaking out right now because they saw what the seniors went through last year. And all of a sudden their year is starting out this way too. So maybe have a conversation about them, about what you can do to help step up this year. And we're going to get through this. You're now our seniors, or you're going to be our seniors here coming up soon and everything. And then I also worry about our seniors that just graduated as well, because usually I go to all their senior graduation parties and everything, and I didn't go to any of them this year. I didn't feel comfortable, and some of them didn't have it. I'm thinking about maybe just sending them a letter, say, hey, So I didn't make it to your party. I've been thinking about you, and whatever your next step in life, I hope you go after it. And so maybe kind of thinking it by class and what you can do by class.
That's a great idea. Yeah. I did something for my 8th graders. I made a video and put it on YouTube because I couldn't say it out loud. So I like held up like signs to them, but you know, they're still talking about it. And I go and there's like 50 more views of it every day. So that's great. Those are all great things. Anybody else?
Here's
Blair, thank you. Perfect. Go ahead.
somebody else.
Someone just started to talk. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, here's an idea I'm trying to develop. Y'all can maybe help with it. Having the kids, to me, performing for someone else is a gift. You're giving of yourself. And that's the way I like to present it to the kids. And, you know, when we're working on solo and ensemble, so think you need to play for other people and think of it like you're giving a gift to somebody. And one of the best things we've ever done when we're in person is when I take kids to retirement homes. That little small groups. Oh my gosh, it's the most wonderful thing in the world. Everything is worth it. You know, the worst day is okay when you go, and the feel goods are just amazing. And I thought about either doing it live and having somebody at we've got multiple retirement homes around town, and let that be a goal. Let my kids pick out solos that they know that they can prepare on the easy side. And, you know, we got some smart music and things that we can use, and then set up a Zoom, or it could be recorded to share, you know, in various ways, but with one of the retirement homes, and give a little virtual concert, and let that be a goal, something that we're working toward, and set the date, and you know, find out maybe some kids have got a relative in a place around here, and maybe have more than one. Say, okay, who wants to be in the one we have on September 10th, and who wants to be on the one September 30th, or whatever. And let that be something to work toward, and let the kids, you know, when they do their thing, let them say, hey, I'm so-and-so, and I'm 11 years old, and blah, 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 whatever. I'm just trying to work that idea out. So
I think that's a great idea, and that's working towards a performance. And that's what my kids said they missed the most, getting to perform, whether
Carol,
you know, together mostly, because the whole putting them together virtually was very hard, by the way. But you know, it wasn't the same. It wasn't the same to them. I mean, they liked it, but it just wasn't the same. So
if only one kid was playing on a Zoom like this, and they had their original sound turned on,
in the middle of
right,
ASBDA meeting
at work, you know, and so you get room full of retirement
at a 7:30 meeting.
know.
yeah.
I think it might, but I don't know. I need to try it out.
The what now?
So can I share an idea that we had in Colorado, or that
Yeah,
I'm trying to get my kiddos?
Please.
Is and I started this over the summer, and now to get the logistics of it, but to create small ensembles, kind of like you were talking about, 2, 3, 4, up to 10, flex ensemble, Bach and before chorale, anything that would work, and kind of offer the kids and families an opportunity to sponsor groups. So it's like a driveway concert or a cul-de-sac concert. And the kids can get assigned their parts and prepare them individually, however that looks, in class, out of class, remote, Zoom, whatever. You can still do assessment and check in on that. And then on the given day, you get to their driveway, their cul-de-sac, whatever, and assist them the way your administration will let you, like either not at all, but you make sure that they've got their music, and then they can have a rehearsal window. It's kind of like a playbook. And IKEA has these little whiteboard, blackboard stands. So you could put it up like a call list on a show, which would be like 2 o'clock rehearsal, 2:45 break, 3 o'clock performance. And you could have one group play a couple numbers, or if you had like trios and quartets, you could have maybe 2 groups. That's one waiting in the wings, as long as that's all been coordinated. And that way they can do live performance, because I think, Carol, your point is on point, that the other people that are getting robbed here are people that actually listen to performances. They don't have that opportunity. So provided they're within their HOA regulations or whatever their developments have, the kids could play concerts or little shows within their driveways, even at a park, if any licensing were needed, like giving them those options, telling them where they could be, and then really load up the small ensemble literature and give them an opportunity to play.
That'd be another
That's a great
one.
idea.
I anticipate with, my kids being middle school kids, they don't drive. And many of them, there'll be a few who all live in the same subdivision who would jump on this. And that
Right.
I could say, okay, if you live in Founders Point, let's find out who you are. Would you like to do this together? But for others, to have a remote way would be maybe you could do some of both.
Right. So I don't mean to cut you off, Carol, but Brian is here. Yay! Hi, Brian.
Hi.
Hi. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for making me stop doing math homework.
Yes. I'm so glad I could help you.
Because nobody wants to do math homework.
Yeah. No, we were just throwing around ideas like we're talking about, so like I said, social and emotional, the needs, and Blair commented that you did a really great clinic for Music for All. Not asking you to do a clinic, but to share some ideas for us.
Yeah, so I don't know if any of you guys have had a chance, obviously Blair has, but if you haven't had a chance to check it out, it's on the music, if you just type in, it's teaching social emotional learning through music. Mm-hmm. And so Music for All is doing a whole series on them. And thus our first one discussion went so long that they're actually doing 2 of them. They divided it into 2. And what I will do is I will drop into the chat here the actual website once I find it. It should come up here pretty quickly. It's Music Education and Social Emotional Learning. So there it is.
Okay.
So, yeah, and Scott Edgar, I don't know if you guys know him or not, but he is the one that is, oops, that's not it. Oh, that's an actual book. That's cool, but that's not what we wanted to do. So I'm gonna find it. And you know what? I don't know. A lot of you, well, Suzanne, you're on my Facebook.
Yeah.
And there's an easy way to find it there, but I'm gonna scroll through and find it. So anyway, while I am finding it,
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the things that we talked about are what does it even mean right now to do the social emotional learning. Here is the website. I'm very excited that I finally found it. So, okay. I'm going to copy this link and paste it into... Clearly, I cannot do multitasking. All right. So, it is... I don't know why, but all right. We're going to do it this way. It is... The suspense is killing you all. Aren't you glad that I don't do live clinics this poorly? Yeah. It is education.musicforall.org/SEL.
Yeah.
Let's see if I spelled that right. Did I get that
right?
You
did.
No, I didn't. I put SERL. So just get rid of
That's okay. Yeah, it's good.
You can make this public, and the key, the secret code is no R.
No R.
But
there you go.
People that attended this session are allowed to know.
Let's go. Exactly.
So in that, we had great diversity. We had great everything. But we kind of talked about, we all know that SEL is this big buzzword. And we all have different thoughts on what it is. And for me, what I think it all boiled down to is social learning, emotional learning is basically just teaching musicianship. It's the whole point of what we do. And I think it's very easy to get involved and say, well, how do we do this? How do we do? You make music is how you do it, right? And this is sort of the definition, if you want to say it, this is the definition between an uninspired and an inspired performance. That's social emotional learning. I mean, you're teaching them to identify with their emotional background. And that's the whole point, right? And so it's a great discussion that we have. Lots of incredible stories, really powerful stories. We do get into elements of race, and I actually think that's more even in the second episode, but we get into that. And I talk about my own experiences and my own mistakes in the past. thinking that, I think a lot of us are always like, oh, I have plenty of black friends. I'm not racist, right? And I always say that too. I've got plenty of black friends. I'm not racist. Yet when people started saying Black Lives Matter, and then you see people counter with, well, no, all lives matter. And I would look at that and I'd say, well, they're right. All lives do matter, right? They all do matter. And the thing is, right, people look and they're like nodding. They're like, wait a minute, that's not right. But the thing is here's the thing though. At the time, I legitimately thought, well, all lives do matter, which I think we all agree they all do matter. But my ignorance was not the fact that my ignorance came from the fact of not understanding that it didn't mean Black lives only matter. It meant that Black lives matter also, right? And it was just a great example of, okay, clearly I'm saying I'm not a racist person, and clearly I'm saying that I have black friends, but clearly I did not take the time to step out and put myself in somebody else's shoes and think about their perspective. So that kind of undid all those things, right? And those emotional connections, those ways of exploring other people's positions are vital. And so even when I was saying those things, at the time, I never said it. I just kind of saw it and I thought, well, why can't we say all lives? It was ignorance, but I didn't know. And I think it's important to be able to address that publicly. I really do. And so I think all these things, through repertoire selection, through the way we engage our kids, that's all part of the social emotional learning piece. So I definitely recommend that you guys all check it out. And it's not just going to be a 2-part series. So the series that we just did was with Brandon Boyd was on there, Alex Shapiro was on there, of course Scott Edgar was on there, Richard Saucedo, and then Bob Morrison was on there. And so it was pretty powerful discussion that we had, and Music for All did a great way of putting all that together. The bottom line for me is that in everything that we are doing right now, I think people are panicking because everybody's trying to figure out what you're going to do virtually with your kids because you're not in the band room. It's a legitimate concern. And so I think a lot of us are saying, well, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do we're going to do a research thing on this composer. We're going to do weekly listening sessions. We're going to do some smart music stuff. We're going to do meet and greet the composer. We're going to bring in a clinician that talks to them every week and they can do a little research project. And those are all great things. But the concern that I have is that if that's what we're doing, we're totally not meeting their social emotional needs at all. Like at all. Their social emotional needs, the thing that they get from us more than anybody else, and we all know it because they're in the band room before school, and they're in the band room at lunch, and they're in the band room after school, and they're not there necessarily because they're trying to get help from the teacher, although some of them are. They're there because they love being there. And so I think what we have to realize is that we've got to figure out a way to engage them musically. That is the key. That is the key. And that is the hardest part of all of this. But at the same time, there are very good solutions. I would invite all of you to check out, if you haven't, on Facebook, join Creative Repertoire Initiative. Some of you may know about this. I see lots of head nodding. If you don't know, the Creative Repertoire Initiative is a Facebook group. It's also a page, but we don't do anything on the page. It's a group. And it's a group of composers that we all came together, and basically we all came together to figure out solutions to COVID issues facing band programs, right? Bands were saying, well, look, if I have school, I don't know if I'm going to have by grade level. I don't know if I'm going to have it by class. I don't know if I'm going to walk into my class one day, I'm going to have 3 trombones and a tuba, and then the next day I'm going to have 5 flutes, and the next day I'm going to have 2 trumpets, a horn, and a saxophone. I don't know what I'm going to have, but I kind of want to work on the same piece with all of them so that if we do go virtual, we can all be talking about the same piece. and there were no solutions for that were really going to work, other than the books that like are the, you know, trio books and the quartet books, which is like, great. My band last year was playing 3 and 4 minute long pieces, 5 minute long pieces, and now I'm doing 20-minute long grade 2 pieces because that's all I have available. And so this group was formed for that reason, to come up with solutions, not to dominate the market, but to come up with solutions. For those of you that don't know who the group is, it's myself, it's Stephen Bryant, John Mackey, Eric Whitaker, Frank DeKelly, Michael Doherty, Alex Shapiro, Omar Thomas, Pete Meekin, and Jennifer Jolly. I think I got them all. Not a bad group of names. Not a bad group of names to hang out with. And then Robert Ambrose is in there as well from Georgia State, who's really helping bring it together. And this was kind of like the brainchild of Alan McMurray, Richard Floyd, and Frank DeKelly. And this whole group was formed. And the whole point of this group, again, is not for all of us to dominate the market. We opened it up to every composer out there. We posted our templates. We posted ideas, how we were creating this music. And so in that creative repertoire group now, daily, composers are publishing and posting about all their new music, tons of it. What I do want to clarify for you, though, is that there's a difference between the different types of flex music that's available now. We have what we call partial flex, semi-flex, and full flex. Semi-flex music is what you've always known your whole lives. That's the Hal Leonard stuff. That's the Barnhouse Build-A-Band stuff, the new Excelsia stuff that's out there, all those Japanese flex band models. That's the semi-flex, which is great, and it's really important, and I'm finally breaking down, and I'm going to start doing some of that with my music so that programs can have access to it, okay? But that does not solve the problem that we have right now, which is, what's a kid going to do if they're home by themselves? What's going to happen if one day I've got 3 alto saxophones and an oboe and they want to play the band piece, right? And so the full flex music comes into play, because in full flex music, it looks very much like those books. Every kid has access to every part. So if you are a flute player and you are playing, I'll give you, most of you probably know Blue Ridge Reel. Okay. So if you're doing Blue Ridge Reel, you can now play it in full band, or you can play it with a flute quartet. You can play it with, you know, all brass. You can do it with all woodwinds. You can do it with the recording that I posted was Jose Sabaja playing all 4 trumpet parts with Boston Brass, right? He just played all 4 trumpet parts, and I recorded the whole thing with him. No anything else, right? Just him and the accompaniment track. And the cool thing about what we're doing now, and I'll type in the website for what you can see there as well. But the cool thing that we're doing there is that we're also including accompaniment tracks. So if you are in a virtual world, fine. The kids can download the accompaniment tracks and they can play along, and you can now rehearse your band, right? You can now say, all right, folks, everybody, in our next Google Meet or our next Zoom meeting, we are going to rehearse Blue Ridge Reel. Everybody have part 1 up. So now your tuba player is looking at the exact same music as your flute player, obviously in their register and in their clef. But now you can talk about the rhythms. You can talk about the phrasing. You can talk about the dynamic contour and the changes. You can have kids unmute and play it for the rest of the group, and the other group can respond and say, oh, I really like that. Can I try to play it? And suddenly you are having an online rehearsal that actually means something for the kids. Then you get off, and the kids can do an app like a cappella. They can do whatever they want to, and they can multi-track themselves playing all 4 parts and send it to you if they want to. There's so many options now, right? And then maybe you're in a hybrid situation where now you're in class. Fine, let the kids choose who's going to play one part, right? Hey, I have an idea. I want the tuba and the flute to play part 1 because that's going to sound great. And some kid's going to laugh and joke around, think it's going to sound awful. But some of those combinations are going to sound really cool. And suddenly the kids are like, wow, we can orchestrate. And suddenly they get excited because there's now a spontaneity in class, right? Suddenly, nobody knows what the piece is going to sound like on any given day because number one, they don't know who's going to be in the class, but number two, they don't know what decisions are going to be made. You can sight read the same piece of music 4 times in a row, and everybody is sight reading every time because they can switch parts. So really, the application is endless. I'm going to put in the link to what we're doing with FJH, and you can check that out. And that includes everything from these 3 and 4 part. And yes, the grade 1 pieces are 3 part. They're 3 part because kids that young need security, and you don't want them to have to play in 4 and 5 part harmony. There's just 3 parts. They all have the demo tracks and they all have the accompaniment tracks. Right? There's music on there that's similar to the Terry Riley in C, where your kids can play any cell they want to on the page. You'll see that on there too. There's a lot of stuff on there. And so I guess what I want to leave you with is the fact that there's a lot of hope. There really is. And there's a lot of cool things that will come out of this that will stay around. I think a lot of times everybody's like, gosh, I guess we'll get through with what we have and then finally we'll get back to real band music. But I think what we're going to start to realize is, wow, there are things that we can do now that we have not been able to do in full band. You can, while everybody's playing, you can ask one kid to unmute themselves, and you can now listen to one kid playing when there's 50 kids in the room, and you can hear that one kid by themselves. That was impossible beforehand. So let's start thinking about all the advantages that this now gives us. And when you put all that together, you start to realize, okay, it's not ideal, but I still can create a community. I can still create this social, emotional need and create that safe place, create the thing that every kid can look forward to every day and know that, hey, band is coming up. It's going to be okay. So, and I'm working on other things too. I'm working on a whole slew of things. You all know about that smart music thing that I did. If you don't know it, yep, Jacob, you nailed it. And so if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's a virtual conductor platform I did on smart music. I'll put that link in here. I'm like a link fiend, right?
You're getting there, yeah.
And the cool thing about this is that it is free. Okay? It's free. It doesn't even require a smart music subscription. It is as free as it comes. The only trick is you have to use Google Chrome. It does not work on an iPad. It does not work on Safari. It does not work on anything. Just you need to have it on Google Chrome. But what we did was we created videos of me conducting to some of the pieces in smart music. So kids can now watch me conduct them as they're playing along with my music. And we've done it at all grade levels. I'm working on some other things like that, a completely different direction. I don't know if it's going to happen yet. So Smart Music had to create that technology for me. I now have them working on seeing if they can pull off new technology. And if that happens, that'll be another game changer. I'm nervous, so I can't talk about it yet because I'm worried it's not going to happen. But I am looking at ways to duplicate a rehearsal experience. I want kids to be able, I want to be able to recreate the feeling of a kid working with a clinician in rehearsal. And I want them to feel like they're finished the day and they're like, wow, that was an awesome rehearsal. I left inspired. And that's how we keep them in band. We do those little research projects, right? Which you can throw in there. You do it in school anyway. You can do that. Hey, we're going to listen to this piece. We're going to do that. We're going to talk about music theory. We're going to do a little bit of that. But if we do that all year long, they're going to burn out and leave. We got to get them playing, and we got to get them rehearsing. So I don't know. There you go. How's that?
Yes, thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Brian or anything they want to say?
Do you want me to type in any more incorrect web links?
Sure. No, I'm pretty proud. I just looked. The other ones look really good. You did a good job.
Yeah, I like Searle. Searle is good.
That's a great one.
Project
Aislinn.
Searle. Yeah. Any questions? Are we?
My dog wants to talk to you, obviously.
Yeah. Well, your dog remembers me. That's good.
That's it. Yep.
Recognizes your voice.
So, all right. Well, listen.
Well, I thank you for jumping on here, Brian. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. We're all in this together, and
We are.
So I will. So you guys represent a lot of different areas. I mean, I see a bunch of states in here. I will tell you that I'm starting to do a lot of requests for teacher in services and to talk about some of these things. So if you want me to do something like that in your area, you all know how to contact me. And if you don't, Suzanne does, Carol, I mean, a lot of you, Blair does, Tracy does, there's a ton of you. I know a lot of you. And so if you need to contact me, go for it. And I'll be happy to try to figure out an in-service to come out to a Zoom near you.
That's great. Thank you, Brian.
All righty.
All right. Well, and with that being said, everyone, I know we went over a little over our hour, but I think it was worth it. So Carol has one more thing to say, and then we're going to turn you out for the night. Carol, go ahead.
Telling you about something to give you a little heads up what's coming. A few of you on here, several of you, are working on the curriculum guide project, and it is coming along really, really well. And I would never in my wildest dreams imagined what an opportunity we were going to have. None of us did. You know, it's nothing but positive, this whole coronavirus and quarantine, and everybody knows how to use Zoom and nobody's complaining about it. I mean, who could have imagined? And all this work is coming together. We're getting together in Zoom sessions, and one of the things that we're going to add, next little layer, because a major piece of this book is that actual firsthand illustrations of what you do with your students in your town, wherever it might be, your school, are going to be woven into the otherwise academic dry content of how you make a lesson plan, how do you assess, whatever. And we're going to put in what you do, and the idea is to show 2 or more contrasting ways to get to the same end, because we know that band does not look the same across this country, from one state to another, one school to another. Some have lots of kids, some are small, some have a big budget, some don't have any at all. Everything about it that possibly could be different is. And when someone picks up this book, when it's done, to read it and they open it, my hope is that immediately they're going to go, oh, I could do that, or oh, that sounds like my program, and not read it and go, that didn't work here. And the way we're going to do that is by getting your examples in. So one of the things we're going to do to collect those is to have, we haven't got the perfect name for it yet, but we thought about calling it Curriculum Guide and Cocktails.
That was my idea.
It's going to be happy, yeah.
Sorry.
It's the first
catchy. It's catchy.
I think we got to let's talk shop. Because, you know, that's one of the things that I miss during all this time, is getting together with my director friends and just talking shop. Well, how are you doing this? How do you get them to play that? How do you fix that problem? And I miss doing that. And that has been happening kind of organically in these Zoom sessions that we've been happening. And we find ourselves sidetracked telling stories about how we do things. And so, well, why don't we need to get everybody telling stories about how they do things? So I'm going to set these up, and each one's going to have a broad topic content area, and say, okay, this one's going to be about everything to do with jazz band. And then maybe another one will be marching band and band boosters and traveling with your kids. And there'll be probably, I think 7-ish Central Time, 6:37, something like that. We haven't decided. And one a week, maybe 2, if I can come up with 2 that are different enough that we wouldn't, you know, necessarily have the same people, to kind of give everybody a chance to spread it out. But we want everybody to come and just be there. And it's going to be real informal. And we'll record it, and we'll have some people taking some notes. And then as you tell what you do, we're going to jot that down, and we'll have this whole gathering of ideas that we can pull from and try to find good examples that illustrate a variety of ways to do this, to different ways to reach the same end. And I'm just excited about it because I think that we're going to have an opportunity to visit with people that we otherwise wouldn't, and to hear your voices, not your voices as in out loud, but your voice as in the teacher that you are, and make that part of this wonderful project. So the more I think about it, the more excited I get. And I hope you all will, when you see this, I'll be sending something out in the next few days. Try to come and tell all your friends and neighbors that are it's just ASBDA members, because the stuff in the book has to come from ASBDA members. Even you steal your other non-ASBDA members' friends and bring them in. Steal their ideas and bring them in. You know,
exactly.
Say they're yours.
Right. So yeah, be looking for those. That'll be coming out pretty soon too. So, and again, thanks for coming tonight. And if you need anything, let us know. I mean, send an email. If there's something else, information you need, or things you might need help with that you know some of us might be able to help you with, please let us know. And I will definitely share the recording. I'll put the recording up for friends who couldn't be here tonight. We'll put it up on our YouTube channel, and I'll send everybody the chat so that they can see everything. So anyway, thanks for being here.
Hang around a minute, Suzanne. We'll talk.
Okay, real quick. Yeah, because I have company. You've been here since 7, so I got to get off here soon. But yeah.
See everybody.
Bye. Good to see you all.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.